The Crown Court of Mishcon de Reya is now in session.
I just want to say a very warm welcome to Mishcon and thank you for joining us for the final module and grand finale of this season's Sports Law Academy.
Tonight's event is all about putting football on trial for failing to promote women to senior leadership positions in the game and failing to promote the women's game.
So we're absolutely delighted to be hosting the event tonight in conjunction with Women in Football. We're one of Women in Football's main partners and we've been supporting them for a number of years.
Even at the top flight in England, there remain stark failings in relation to facilities and the commitment to the culture of women's football. Manchester United didn't even have a senior women's team between 2005 and 2018. And the obvious question arises, if the big clubs aren't getting it right and leading from the front, how are the smaller teams going to succeed?
Mishcon have been a fantastic partner of Women in Football for some time now, providing really important pro bono legal support to the organisation. It's sadly a reality still that women within the football industry face discrimination and issues within the workplace, and Mishcon have provided absolutely essential support to enable women to be able to come and get advice.
Article 2F, as you'll see on the charge sheet, requires football to promote the development of women's football. The key words, ladies and gentlemen, are promote and development. In hearing the evidence today, you must bear in mind that football's obligation is to move things in the right direction. It is not to have completed the journey already.
What has been increasingly apparent actually has been the growth across all of sport on the profile of women's sport. And women's football has been really at the head of that momentum of increasing interest, and therefore it's hugely important that for the game to develop, it is supported both by the associations and by the clubs to ensure that there is investment and support so that women's football gets to its rightful place of parity.
We're now starting to see women take their place at the full professional level, which means they're more visible and role models to others who might want to play, but more importantly, they're role models to the rest of society.
There had been a number of teams in the late 1890s, so clearly the interest was there from a long time ago. And as we heard about Dick Kerr's Ladies, it really peaked in the early years, around 1920 with that game at Goodison Park, so clearly the interest was there, players wanted to play. And just a year later, when the ban came along, with it being deemed quite unsuitable for ladies, particularly the Dick Kerr's Ladies, then women weren't allowed to play on FA-affiliated pitches with FA referees. And of course, the game was set back hugely for 50 years. And the Women's FA was founded in 1969, and just a couple of years later, the ban was overturned. Now, can you imagine if men's football had been banned for 50 years until 1971, we wouldn't have all the England heroes of 1966 World Cup, and neither would we, I'd suggest, have the Premier League today.
It was fantastic to see what they're doing here at Mishcon and giving lawyers and up-and-coming people in the legal profession an opportunity to see how a trial would work in this particular subject. And I think people seem to enjoy the fun side of it because we didn't take ourselves too seriously.
It was brilliant to see both sides of the argument, a brilliant discussion and a really important discussion to be had and to continue to have to ensure that women's football continues to be promoted and women's inclusion in the game more broadly on the field and off the field remains absolutely top of the agenda for football globally.
We're trying to raise industry standards and attract people to the law that otherwise wouldn't have been interested in learning more about becoming a lawyer. And we're really trying to get them engaged in law with an area that really kind of interests a lot of people in sports. And we're doing that by examining contemporary sports law issues.
Our goal as part of the Sports Law Academy is to facilitate debate of the key legal issues in sport, to nurture young talent and to promote diversity. We encourage as many people as possible to attend. It's free to access, it's available online, and please do look out for updates for the next Sports Law Academy series next year.